everybody. Good evening. How are you today? Oh, let me just dull the light. There we go. That's going to be better. We can see now, can't we? Let's move that out of the way because that'll be the Discord thing. There we go. I was filming my archery bite-sized video earlier, so that's why it's all in a slight disarray. How are you this evening? Let me jump onto Discord. Hang on a minute. I'm going to get onto Discord as well. Good evening. Oh, it's lovely to have you with us, Nick. Hope you're all right. I'm jumping onto Discord now anyway. What day is it? Tuesday. Hello. I am here. Good evening. Good evening, Christine, as well. I've got to say, I've just posted a video on the shop social media. Oh my word, I'm in love with a pencil sharpener. It's just like, wow, this is it. It's the Derwent Superpoint Mini Manual Helix Helical Pencil Sharpener. Gosh, wow. Now, you may think, Barry, why on earth are you getting so excited about a very expensive pencil sharpener? Well, it's all to do with this bit here. What it does is you pull it out, and however far you put it out, it fits all sizes of pencil, including the Caran d'Ache ones. But what it can do is look at the point. Hello, Heather. Look at the point on that beast. My goodness. They're £18.29. We've not got them on Shop Happy. I only had 2 in stock, and I've taken 1 to play with. And it's not going back on the shelf now because I'm in love with it. I'm going to marry it. So we've got 1 in stock. If you want me to order 1 in for you, they're not on Shop Happy. If you want me to order 1 in for you, and you can pay by PayPal or pay backs, or if you call into the shop, then I'll get them in. But I've done them all. I've done all my pencils. Look at these. Look at my little family of long pointed pencils. Wowzers. They're amazing. You what, sorry? It's helical, so it might be. I mean, it's got a round hole to shove them in, because these are hexagonal. Okay. So honestly, I'm blown away by that. And it clamps onto my desk, and I'm sharpening anything that'll fit in. All right, let me have a look. No, I bet it. No, that's a knife jobby. That is. Yeah. But honestly, if you're after a decent pencil sharpener that fits all sizes, that gives a nice long workable point. Hello, Sarah. Hello. How are you? I haven't seen you for ages either. Oh, this is like a little family reunion. How are we all? So yeah, I'm in love with that pencil sharpener. I am. I wasn't going to sell any. I was just going to keep them all for myself and just get lots in and just look at them. But I ought to, really, since it's my job. So I can order them in for you. Just let me know if you want to. If not, why not? Are you mad? These are amazing. It's wonderful. It's not sponsored by Derwent. It is. It's just me being very excited by a pencil sharpener. What can I say? It doesn't take much to please me, or to to make my day. Just a little plastic box with a handle and a clamp. I like the clamp. I think it's clever. So yes, there we are. That's my excitement for the day. Is the mechanic. I've got 5 of you tonight. That's lovely to have so many of you on a Tuesday evening. What have you been up to, Sarah? How are you? Right. A Crofter'c Cottage. It's going to be a nice one tonight, and I think it'll be a nice acrylic class next week as well. Make sure I've got my paper stump. Oh yeah. Oh, brilliant, thank you. That is good stuff. I haven't got any music on. Hang on a minute, let me. Oh, brilliant, thank you. It all helps with the sharing and the commenting. And all of these algorithmy things. Absolutely. It's a hard job now to do all of this kind of thing. It's still fun. It's still good fun. Sarah! Oh. Alright, how are you? It has been a while, we have missed you. No, it's true. It's true, I miss all of you. You're like... See, I have, see? No. Alright. We are all right. I wonder if it would sharpen a paper stump. No, I'm not going into that. I'm not going to stick my paper stump in there. I won't fit that big one in. But no, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. No, I can't. Yeah, to shred it, and I don't really want to shred it. No, I'm going to be good. I'm going to be good. It seems like such a lot of money for a pencil sharpener, but honestly, and it's got a little drawer you can pull all your bits out and tip it away. Oh, it's so nice. Okay. Anyway, it's enough about my pencil sharpener, love. Absolutely. I've gone for this one because it's kind of a nice little simple scene on a muggy Tuesday evening. We don't want anything too taxing today, because the elephants were really taxing, weren't they? Enjoyably taxing, absolutely. A bit like the watercolour portrait that we've done. Everybody's portrait looked amazing from the watercolour class this Thursday and Monday's classes. So yeah, it's yesterday. Gosh, that was yesterday. Everything feels like a long time ago. Right, so we've got a tiny little Crofter'c cottage with the ocean, some clouds, and a bit of foreground scrub. A crofter is kind of like a Scottish farmer, so they live in the middle of nowhere, and they live off the land in a small holding like that, and they'll have sheep and, very isolated community. In fact, I believe that Madge Bishop, who was in Neighbours way before you were born, Sarah, in Neighbours, lives in either in Ireland in a sort of croft in Ireland or in Scotland. I can't remember. So she emigrated over here a long time. She might be dead now. I don't know. She was getting on a bit then. Right. So how are we going to plan this out? No, it's so nice to have 5 of you on a Tuesday. Right. We need to gauge where we're going to start putting everything. So you'll be back at work full time, I'm imagining, Sarah. Okay, well, that's good. Yeah, it is. It's good for. And I was having a read about the social media stuff. Right, so we want about a third of the way up. is the sea line, not sea lion. Don't confuse my accent. So what I'm doing is I've got my pad, and I want to keep the pad level. I've got my pencil locked into place, and I'm going to run my thumb along the bottom of my pad. Ooh. And that should help give me a straight-ish line. I need to just darken that line a little. Oh, I've gone upwards. Around about a third. Try not to get a paper cut. Okay, so that's our sea in situ, and the land slightly rises anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So it's probably about 2 fingers from the left hand side, and it slowly rises up to about sort of like finger or thumb width. Do it fairly light. I'm having to go a bit darker because obviously you need to see what I'm doing. So as usual, we'll map everything in place, and then start working it up. We had two nice classes yesterday. We did a lavender field where we in acrylics yesterday morning, where we painted the whole canvas or surface in a sort of pale pink first, and then used that as our base colour for everything, and then it was the gorgeous watercolour portrait yesterday evening. And we're doing a squirrel up a tree in pencil tomorrow. It's nothing, everything's very varied here. Very varied indeed. Right, so about 3 finger widths in. I'm just going to make a little mark, because then that's where the edge of my cottage or croft is going to be. Oh. Yeah, I mean the whole cottage is round about whole 4 fingers roughly, just to give us, it's just to give us a rough idea of where to gauge everything. Yes. Yes. Probably we only need 4 colours and white or something. Ultramarine, cadmium red, cadmium yellow, and white. Let's try it with that next week. Let's see how we can do it. So we just got to work out the shape. So around about 2 fingers width here, I'm going to draw a square. How low down? About 2 fingers up from the bottom of the page. A square with a triangle on the top. Ignore the chimney for now. Because we're not going to do full-on hard perspective on a Tuesday night. Goodness me, no. Have we been doing any singing, Sarah? Oh, good. See, can't keep away. Very addictive, these classes, I think. I'm here for each one of them, it must be. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw exactly the same thing again, but slightly smaller. This will be a revelation to you. Slightly make the bottom a little bit higher than that, and the top a little bit lower than that one, just slightly. A square, sort of square. It's not a square really, is it? It's a rectangle because it's wider than it is tall. Oh, yeah, excuse me. Ugh. Yeah, you are. Let me go to bed. Clear off. It is. I coloured in a map today. It was like I was teaching geography again in primary school. But I've gone through where all of our customers are in the UK. Yeah, it's amazing since lockdown. How many? It's on our stories, on our Facebook stories. And it's amazing to see how much of the UK we've dominated in 4 months. I mean, it might only be 1 or 2 sales or students in each county, but it's amazing. We've covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, about 30 counties, which is really cool. Right, so top of our triangle to the top of the triangle, join them. Bottom of the outward triangle to the bottom of the outward triangle, join them. And the bottom of the square to the bottom of the square, join them. I think I need to make that triangle a little bit lower there. Yeah, the bottom as well, but it's all going to be covered in scrub. So that's a really quick way of drawing a house in perspective. You just have to look at whether the roof is going down or up to determine whether your second further away shape is higher or lower, and it's the same with the bottom. Is it going up or is it going down? Isn't that really clever and really fast? So then all I'm going to do is erase that line there and that line there. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah. And then I'm going to zoom in because we can look at the chimney and stuff to get this right. Beep, 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 beep. Beep. You can see my dodgy pencil lines. Oh, how weird on my picture, because I've got the zoom in. That's better. I've got it looked like this bit wasn't as low, or wasn't lower than that bit. That would have been disaster. So what I'm going to do with this section is I'm going to draw a little rectangle. Maybe I'll make it a little bit fatter. There. So it's part of this wall. And really the chimneys aren't that different in height, so what I want to do is just slightly go a little downward line, another vertical line like that, and that will give us the side of our croft chimney, because it's kind of a bit of a line, isn't it? And a little bit on top and a nice big stack. Because you see, there is a bit of a wall coming down here, a retaining wall on the roof, like that, because it comes out just a fraction, so it's sort of like a little mini roof on its own. So it happens on the other side as well. Let me just erase. My lines are quite chunky today because I'm enjoying my new elongated point. And then we want, I'm going to bring the slope of the roof down a fraction to match the same angle, so that bit and that bit. Come across and up like that. That's kind of facing us, so this bit and this bit are the same. But try and get all your verticals to be vertical. If they're slightly wonky, the croft will be derelict and nobody will be able to live in it. I would though, I would love to live in something like this, as long as it had got decent Wi-Fi. I could see me in one of these. I'd be happy. Okay, and then slightly sloping downward line towards the left. Straight line down. What's that? I know. I'm watching me, and I'm way behind. I'm way behind. I'm way behind myself. I very rarely know what I'm on about, Sandra. So if any of you do, that's a good. Well, I'd question your mindset if you actually do know what I'm on about. we're getting there, aren't we? Oh, we might need an embossing tool in a bit. Where have I stuck mine? I've got that. Oh, here it is. I've got that many of them. You wouldn't think. I've got a whole shop full downstairs, and I still can't find them when I need them. We're going to be nice and chill today. I'm not feeling the need for stress. Okay, so then we can. It would be if we looked at it on face on, the doorway would be in the centre, but because we're looking at it further at an angle, the doorway is slightly off centre, and it goes from ceiling to floor. So that is good news. And I'll do a little extra line for the rebate of the door. Now the windows are interesting because they can almost go to the top of the roof, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the window line that's closest to us, and mark where the other one is. It's just a little rectangle, probably about the width of your pencil, not your pencil, Sandra. Okay, good. And then just a slight slope downwards for that, and then if you imagine it with a bit of a line going that way, going sort of upwards there. Let's pop the other one in. Try and keep it the same sort of width. And you can see the insides of the edge of that window. So this is how to set it all up, really. Oh, do you know what? I've just spotted there's a little window here. A little. It must be sort of like a mezzanine floor in the attic there, where the little bed is. Yeah, near the chimney. How cute. I could definitely live there now there's an upstairs. I'm off. Two fireplaces. And that's posh, isn't it? Two fireplaces. How posh can you get? How's it looking? How's yours looking? A bit house-like, like a building. I hope. Vaguely good. That's what all the scrub's for if it doesn't work out. Put loads of bushes in front of it. And then actually I'm going to run another little line coming down from there because that's where the little fence posts go. If I zoom out just a little bit. Oh, I need to change screens because I can't tell if I've zoomed out in the right place. Sort of like that. Do you want me to zoom out even more? Well, that's looking good, Sam. I've zoomed out even more now. Doing lots of zooming. Okay, so I am going to emboss the window frames, and it is like a little doll's house window. Oh, now I need something to shove underneath. This will do. Just so when I emboss, so there's an embossed line roughly in the middle. And then thinner top and bottom. But don't do that smack bang in the middle. Move it slightly over to the right hand side. What do I do? Smack it right bang in the middle. I don't listen to myself, that's the problem. So when we skim over this, yeah, it is. And I can tweak any lines that I don't want. I just get really excited with that. I just think it's such a clever, simple way of creating the lines in the window. Or to zoom in so you can see that. There's me doing it and then I'm being really naughty. I need to go a bit darker. So this is all with the HB or the 2B, whichever one you possess. Oh no, you need your embosser. You got a biro lid on you. Could send a carrier pigeon. I think that's what we've missed doing over lockdown. We should have all trained carrier pigeons. Because they eat anything, so really it's cheaper than a mobile phone, isn't it? Like the original Twitter. Yeah. We could just call it Coo. Absolutely. Right, so what I'm going to do with my 2B is slightly shade the roof in, but following the slope. Now I wouldn't normally do this at this stage. Yes. Oh really? Oh, that's interesting. Maybe they've changed the recipe. It is definitely HB I gave you, isn't it? Oh, how weird. Yeah, that's why I said just check that it says HB on it. It could have had a different embossing, I suppose. Or just smack the table, sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah, because the 2H is slightly lighter. I suppose it's like everything with recipes, isn't it? It just depends if it's not exactly the same mix. But it should be, I'd have thought, with a national company like this. What I'm going to do is just use my embosser, now I've shaded, to emboss some ridges. Doesn't really matter. Try and follow the slope of the roof if possible, but it is an old tin roof, so it will go wonky. So that's our preparation done. I am going to just shade that little window in. And then we can concentrate on all the nice bits. Can't believe it's already 20 to 8. It's mad, isn't it? Yeah, I might even go darker. But I won't know until the whole picture's done. It's always better to go darker. It is hard. It did look good. It is hard though, isn't it? I think that's what the hardest thing is with this whole art malarkey, is having the patience to know to start lighter and get darker and not just go gung ho at what you're doing. Not easy, and even after you've been doing it for a long time, it still doesn't come that naturally. You just want to go for it, and you want to see the colour, and you want to see the this and the that. But it is helpful to. Oh, actually, do you know what? While I've got my little sticky thing underneath, I'm gonna pop on with the thicker one a few little fence posts, just random, following that little line. Maybe getting a little bit smaller, shorter. I'm not joining them up though. No, 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 no. That'll do. Maybe I shall stick another one there. The slope of the roof, yeah, the ridges in the roof, like that will be the over the top of this. So I've shaded it in, then I've embossed the furrows. Good oak. I'm gonna move my little bit of paper from underneath now I've done that. Along that line, going from the left of the cottage, you know, that extra little line that slopes down, just randomly get a little bit smaller, make them quite wonky, but don't join them up, keep them as posts. Almost, yeah. I mean, you can do as few or as little as you want. As few or as many. Few and little is the same. So then it's sort of all about the sky. Now I don't know whether is it a graphite powder kind of sky? With a bit of an array, maybe it is actually. If have you all got bits of graphite powder? Have you kept your shavings, or have you got graphite powder? If you haven't, you can very carefully, if you switch up a pencil and go for sort of a 3B, 4B kind of one, if you start on the edge of the sea and then in really soft motion, I'll tell you what else you can use. If you've got a bit of paper, a bit of scrap paper, you could put that on the sea line to help you get a nice straight edge. But if you do it in a sort of circular motion rather than a scribble, it works a little bit better. Just want to get a nice straight edge. Yeah, I'm just going to smudge it now. I wouldn't normally smudge this early, but I can remove the paper then. So it just gives me that nice edge, and I don't have to go back to this line, because I'm going to move a bit higher up with the smudging. Oh, the graphite stick, yeah. There we go. You can see my original sea line was slightly off, but not too bad actually. That's not bad, Barry lad. That's not bad at all. So I'm going to smudge up a little bit with this till it runs out. Hello. It's always in the last place you look, that's for sure. So I'm going to sort of go a little bit lighter on the smudge. I've got a dirty stick, so I'm quite fortunate in that I don't have to do a huge amount of pressure. It takes a while. The only trouble is with these is you lose the point. The dirtier you get them at the right filthy level, and you lose the points. No, I've got a few on the go, but this is kind of like my favourite. I don't know. Can you have favourites? Because I think this is definitely a favourite of mine. So I've created that lighter cloud. Then I need to start creating a few darker bits within. And I can erase some with a putty eraser or a putty rubber. Or a putty rubber, as I would call it. You can just sort of dab and twist and you get like fluffier, whiter clouds in amongst the dark. Yeah, do you know, I think clouds, in whatever medium you work in, clouds are hard, but I do think pencil and pastel works really well with clouds because, I don't know, you can get blend and tone in a very different way. Got some darker cloud. What's this? This is still the 3B, isn't it? Yeah. Press down a little bit harder. But you can see actually having this longer point on the pencil means I can cover a much larger area quicker. Maybe I'll do a little lighter, leave a gap, do a lighter bit, and then I can blend those two together. Yeah, 3B. I want to save my darks for the foreground. Somebody been at your stuff? Vary the pressure, but if you notice it's all in little short swirly motions, so you're making that billowy cloud feel. Oh no, that's not good. And you normally keep them all in the same place, I imagine, don't you? I've got a plastic tub. I still lose everything though. I have a habit of putting things, moving things, using it, and then totally forgetting that I've done it, and then blaming Jackie. I'm really good at that. Well, no, she'll get a text message when I'm frantically looking for something, and she never ever replies because within 30 seconds I've generally found it. Where have you put this? I can't find this anywhere. And then, oh, it's alright, I found it now. I looked at on the screen of the darker band, and it looked too much like a stripe, so I'm gonna blend it in downwards a little bit more so it's got a little bit more variation. Okay. See you later. Bye. Well, I'm going to go a bit darker, I think. I might switch to just a bit more pressure on the top right hand corner, or going in towards the half of it. The trouble is, you see, when you're working in shades of graphite, it can end up looking like just stormy clouds, whereas actually it's quite blue. But you know, trying to work out what the dark tone of blue will be would be a darker grey. So it's actually quite tricky to get it to look like a sunny sky rather than. Yeah, but then there's not huge shadows or anything, is there, in the picture? So it's sort of, we can probably get away with it looking a bit stormy. But you like stormy? Got a hat on. Doing a bit of a twist with the old putty eraser just to get some different. It's not lifting out loads, but it just gives a bit of variation. Yeah, when I use embossing, I am trying now to stick something underneath the paper just to give me an extra chance of not scoring right the way through. Actually, once we've done the sky, we'll be doing the sea, which is going to be darker than the sky. I might actually just emboss a few little wiggles for waves. Nothing too strong, but just a few little wiggles towards the lower part of the picture. I'm not going to go too heavy either. Little lines and squiggles. I've gone for thicker only because on the camera my thinner ones don't show up, so you won't be able to see it when I smudge. So I'm actually going to pop the kettle on, I think, now, and then we can, at 8 o'clock, we can reconvene and do the building, which is a tatty white anyway, isn't it? So it's but I think I'm going to have the light coming from this angle, from the upper left. Yeah, so then the right hand side of the gable end of the cottage is going to be dark. Right, so I'm going to go pop the kettle on. I'll be back in a few minutes. I have returned. So I'm going to use a slightly darker pencil, like a 5B or something. For the C. 6B is fine, 5 or 6. and because I want to go dark mainly where the water's edge is. I'm going to smudge it, but I just need it. I need the sea line to be darker. Now if I had that bit of paper again, I could probably match up the line. And just quickly go over the edge. If I go over it though, I'll have to put in some headland like I have there. It looks like it's raining on that edge of the seed. I didn't want to use a ruler today, you see. Too lazy for a ruler. And then I'm just going to skim it lighter, because obviously I want the foreground in the house to be darker, so I'm then going to smudge. Try and keep your lines fairly horizontal with the sea, because the sea is horizontal. It's easy to go a bit wonky when you're doing water. I mean, you can add darker flicks and flecks in the sea around your squiggles of embossing. Maybe a few little darker lines, some longer, some shorter. Because what you don't want to happen is, obviously we've got a slope running downhill here, haven't we? We've got a slope. What you don't want is for your sea lines to echo that slope. So it's good to remind yourself to keep the lines straight and horizontal. I might just rub out a little bit of the land above, the sky above my sea line. Now I've got both in, because I want it, I'll put my paper down again, because I want a better definition between land and sea. Don't necessarily want to go right back to paper, but I do want to see a better contrast. So I'm sort of dabbing and twisting at the same time, so it doesn't look like I've just rubbed it. Oh, that's better. Look at the difference that's made. No, you don't have to blend the darker lines, you mean? No, I'm not. I'm going to leave it as sort of like wispy clouds, because it kind of, if you look at the photograph, it is slightly mistier and cloudier towards the horizon line. So I think we can happily fudge that in a creative way. Actually, while I've got the 5B, I'm just going to go over the roof a little. So what that will do is it will highlight the embossed bit that we did earlier, and I just need to darken the top of the roof. And the underside of the roof. Yeah, same pencil. I'm just pressing down a little bit harder. It's just to get the texture more than anything. I know, for you it's either sandpaper or a knife, which is annoying, really. No, well, you don't really. You don't think about that. I might just lighten the sea a fraction behind that roof. I find dabbing with the putty eraser works quite well to take off excess graphite, and it just allows you to get a little bit more definition in your lines. Actually, I use the 5B as well to do the doorway. Don't go too dark too soon. It's amazing, isn't it, just how a little bit of tone can really start to build things up. mean, you can even use the eraser on elements of the roof just to get a different feel or texture. You know, don't think everything's got to be smoothed down within an inch of its life, because you're creating different layers of land and texture and different surfaces, which are all going to have different textures. So it's going to be interesting, really. I find actually that the drawn. Sorry, Sandra. Only initially. I smudged it initially, but anything else I've done subsequently, I haven't smudged. Yeah, I wanted to fill it in a little bit. I was saying to somebody the other day, I actually really love these drawn to acrylic classes, because in a normal lesson we're just that quick to get the sketch down to work on the painting, or in the drawing lesson we're just there for the drawing. But here, if you come to the 2 sessions, you learn all the different tones and the structures and what have you in the drawing. But then in the acrylics, you're learning all about the colour. But because you've done the drawing theory underneath, you know, separately, you're understanding tone and light a little bit more in depth than just following the colour. And because you've done this week, when you do the painting next week, you know, you can pre-draw this out next week ready. But you're already aware of where the light bits are, what you want to darken, what worked well, what didn't work well. So this is kind of more, in a way, advanced, because it's what you'd be expected to do with good under drawings for paintings if you took this on a higher level. So it's a good it's good training, really, and as I say, a good drawing never made a bad painting. So I'm going to use the stump just to shade the gable end of the cottage in just a little bit, and I'm going to dab with it in places so it feels like stone. So what I'm doing is actually dotting and dabbing. Let me zoom in again on this, just so you can see what I'm going on about. I do need to erase a little bit of my, I've still got some of the roof line in each of these. And I suppose the inside of the door and the inside of the window frames underneath the roof eave. And you can see just by, oh actually let me rub out, I've still got the odd pencil line there and there. So you can see, to get the idea of stones and stuff, I'm just using the paper stump, because this is the light side of the building, but I'm using the paper stump randomly as dabs, and it's creating a really interesting stone effect. It's slightly lighter line there. And a bit of a harder edge. Maybe darken the chimney stacks. See, after I've leaned on all of this, I always have to neaten up the edges again, because everything gets so filthy. Oh gosh, no, I think it's a good sign if you can come away wearing almost as much as you've put on the paper. I think that's good. What's a bit wonky? Well, it's old. It can be a little bit wonky, can't it? Wonky's allowed. Right. Yeah, that's not looking too bad. Let me zoom out. Let's see. Gonna have the sound effects. Yeah, that's going to look alright, that. So the foreground has got to be dark, but because the sea is quite dark, I think the in-betweeny bit has got to be darker than the foreground, weirdly. It's all about planes and layers. But equally we want the house to fit into the landscape and not just sit on top of it, you know? So if you've got a 7 or 8B, use that. But if you've got a 6B or a 9B, I'd go for the 6B and just press down a little bit harder. Especially as you're nearing the house. Ah, yeah, okay. Yeah, I know. I'm a bit lethal if I have to use a craft knife to sharpen anything. I've just obviously doing that has found all of my little posts, and I'm darkening the right hand side of each one. Okay. I could definitely live here. I'm growing very attached to this. We basically just like have a kitchen and a sitting area and a bedroom in the loft, and that would be it. That's all you need really in life, isn't it? I keep telling myself, because my house is quite cluttered, but they say you shouldn't have anything in your house that doesn't mean anything to you. But I've got so many things in my house that means a lot. It's very vintage, my house. If you've ever seen any photos of it, it's very 1940s. But almost everything I have has a memory attached to it, and I don't really want to get rid of it because I haven't really got much family left now. So all I've got is the objects that were theirs to not to remember them by, because obviously I'll never forget them. But it's just nice that everything's got something attached to it. But if I ever do downgrade and downsize, I mean I can't get much smaller than a 2-bed cottage. But if no, I'm not smudging because I want the texture. Yeah, no, I haven't done it, I promise. Yeah, and then I'm gonna I have flicked up a little bit on the edge of the land where it meets the sea, just to make it look like it's not a straight line or a wall or anything like that. See, I could quite happily live in a shepherd's hut as long as there was plumbing. And I know there are some shepherds hut where you can have running water and a shower, and that's all I'd want is a toilet. I'd want a flushing toilet, because when my marriage ended, I had the option of taking the little bit of cash from the house sale and either paying off debt or buying a narrow boat a second-hand narrowboat, and I was that far away from buying the narrowboat. But then I had a long hard think, and I decided what would feel like a novelty would soon wear off after having to empty my toilet every couple of days or whatever. And I thought that's the one thing that I just don't want to do all weathers. So I didn't do it. So whatever happens to me in life, I have to have a flushing toilet. That's just basic living, really. So I just share that with you on a Tuesday evening. So there we go. Thoughts and wisdoms about toilets. Don't forget, we made a drink nearly half an hour ago, so if you made a hot drink, it will start to be a bit cool, although it's quite muggy today. We're not due more rain or anything, are we? I'm sick of the rain now. I was sick of the sun, now I'm sick of the rain. I just want a mild overcast day. It's not too much to ask. I don't want bad weather. I don't want hot weather either. It's what I don't. Mild and overcast. That's good shopping weather. That is. Too hot, too windy, or too wet. Nobody comes out. It's got to be mild and overcast. It really came down during the class last night, didn't it, if you heard it? Thundering, heavy rain. Ooh. Right, so we're in the last stretch now. We want sort of a textured grass, but then we want the darker tufts to come through. Almost like the gorsy, brackeny, heathery stuff. So we're going to have to choose our tones wisely for this, I think. But I don't know. Let me zoom in, because I don't know if you've seen the what the embossing did on the roof. It's really cool, just because we always normally, we either normally or always, don't we? I don't know. Occasionally we emboss and we use it on white paper. So when you emboss on white paper, when you skim the pencil over it, the white paper shows through. But if you emboss on already shaded paper, like we did on the roof, when you go over it with a darker pencil again, that comes through as a more muted tone. No, I'm going to do the grassy bit first, which I'm going to go back to the 7. No, I'll use the 7, the 5B or the 4B, and I'm just going to do a little bit of grass. So I'm tinting. I'm not going to shade or smudge this one. I'm just going to want it to be a little bit lighter than the grass, but my problem already is that the background bit here, that's better. I'm going in a sort of, I'm going a bit haphazard with this. The texture of the paper is showing through a little bit, which is good. I mean, it doesn't matter if you go up and down. I'm doing the whole thing, the whole bottom. A little bit darker as you get a little bit more pressure. As you get towards the lower part. So we've got a little bit of depth in this, because as I said, we want the house not to float. We want the house to sit into the scene. Oh gosh, these long pencil leads that I've created tonight are amazing. So useful. Yeah, the graphite sticks are absolutely brilliant. And you get some nice texture with the graphite sticks, don't you? Even if you don't think your paper is textured, it's still quite textured. Oh, I don't know if you can see that from doing the zoom in. I've got like a flat edge. I need to zoom in on my hand. Okay. There we go. Look, I've got like a chiseled edge now from where I've been working. It's like a sword. Look at that. Ooh. Going a little bit darker as well towards the gable end, just so it makes the illusion that there's maybe a bit of shadow or something going on that side. Finishing my coffee and then we can do a little bit more of it. But can you see how by just adding a little bit more pressure in that foreground, made it a little bit darker, so we've got dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light. So we're getting a lot of gradients in the whole scene by changing the contrast all the time. Dark against light is a really, really cool thing to have. More so in landscapes, because it helps you feel you get the distance and depth in a scene that you can often get missed out quite easily. You see, for me on this right hand side there's not much contrast between those two layers, so I'm just going to dab with my putty rubber in the lighter area. Instantly brings that layer forward. I haven't got, you know what, I want to put a tiny little wiggly path in, and I know there isn't in the picture, even though it's only going to be a little line once it leaves the door. Oh, that's good. I feel happy now they can walk without getting their boots filthy. So that was with the 7B. I'm not going to go with the 9B today. I don't think we need the real darks. And if I was, it would be for the windows and the door and some right immediate foreground. But I think we'll be able to get away with the good old 7B instead. 8B, yeah, 7B, 8B. It's a similar thing. So don't forget, the aim is to nestle this cottage into the environment rather than just have it stuck on. So maybe here I'll just have a little scribbly bush. Yeah. And maybe just a little bit on the gable end. I mean, I'm probably not going to put as many in that are in the photograph. I'm doing sort of little ups and downs rather than scribbles. And maybe one a little bit further down. So we can create a few more layers. We want it to feel lived in, and we could put a bit of maybe a bit of smoke wafting up from the chimney, just so we know somebody's in. And the kettle's on. I think what I want is a biggish one here that just breaks over the bit where the land and the sea meet, and then comes down a little bit lower, like that. And by doing that, you see, that helps create even more depth. I don't want it as scrubby as I'll put one right at the bottom here on this side. Maybe one or two more. I don't want to. It's easy to get carried away with all of this, but I don't want to. Just doing them everywhere. Let's have some more. Let's have one here. Let's do another one. Yeah. Vary the height and the width and the shape if you can, because that will, even if you have gone a bit wild with the wildness, changing the height in an area or the width can make a difference to it and make it feel a little bit more natural. Maybe another one. I don't want nothing right smack bang in the middle. So let's have one sort of right about there. I'm not going to press down on as hard with some of them. I'm doing what you said, Sarah. I'm going a bit wild with it. I'm doing some smaller ones, but slightly softer. so they're not as in your face. Got no sheep in this or anything. Maybe I will. I'm just going to use this to do a waft of smoke just coming from the chimney. Oh, I've really enjoyed drawing this today. However, I don't think I'm going to do any more because I don't want to ruin what I've got, you know? I've really enjoyed this because it's sort of there's a lot of elements to it, but they're I don't know. I'll do a little zoom in walkthrough so you can see. Hang on. What it looks like. So you can't see much of the sea embossing, but it's there, but not that strong. And then you can see the wispy bit of smoke I've done in the chimney. So hopefully you've really enjoyed that tonight, because I have. I've really loved it. We finished a bit earlier as well, which is unusual for a Tuesday night, for any lesson actually. But obviously when we do it in acrylics, as I say, next week, if you want to get it all drawn out ready, you now know what to expect and the sort of proportions that we're going to do it in acrylics. And I reckon I'm going to try it with cadmium red, cadmium yellow, ultramarine and white, and see if we can make everything out of those three colours with the white, and see what happens. So coming up for the rest of this week, we've got tomorrow afternoon is the drawing class, and it's a squirrel up a tree. Thursday morning is a young rabbit in gouache or acrylic, depending on what you've got. Thursday afternoon is a ladybird on a forget-me-not in watercolour. Thursday evening is an art history talk on Dadaism. Friday afternoon is a watercolour class of Kimber Edge rock houses, and Saturday morning is our free crashing wave in acrylics lesson at 11 o'clock on the shop's Facebook page. Monday morning's demo is a misty ploughed field in sepia in watercolour, and Monday evening's watercolour class is Ladybird on Forget Me Not. Then Tuesday afternoon is Fiery Sunset with Billowing Clouds in acrylics, and then that leads us to this class next week, which is this but in acrylics. So no, I had a lovely time. Thank you very much for your company. I'm glad you found it relaxing, Christine. That's good. I think it would have been a bit more stressful if we'd have gone with lots of perspective lines and stuff, but this is a nice simple way. The triangle and a rectangle is a nice simple way for doing an image that doesn't really matter that much about perspective, because we haven't got hundreds of windows and hundreds of anything. I've just had 3 share it on Discord. Nick, that's lovely. And oh yes, Sarah, gorgeous, nice texture in your foreground. Oh, that's lovely as well, Sandra. Well, yeah, really nice. Glad you enjoyed it, Heather. It's just your horizon line's not perfectly straight is all, I think. That's all it is. It's just that straight edge. But what you could do is you could have a peninsula or something in it. So if you had a ruler just to straighten off the bottom with a slightly darker line, it would look like the sea then. But I think that's really nice. No, I think you've all done really well. So I'm glad you've all enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your company, as always. And I look forward to seeing you in the virtual world, unless you're popping in the shop over the next week. So thank you so much for your company. Take care, everybody. Bye bye, everyone. Bye bye.